Alright, so today's video is going to be really quick, and I've been wanting to explain this because I've been actually talking about this for quite some time, and that it is something interesting that you can do with the Octobrush, and in turn something you can do with the ink brush, where you can now, or I guess I shouldn't say now, there has been a sweet spot for the brushes that allow you to hit more than once, essentially. And I've been talking about this ability to one-shot with the Octobrush, and some people have been asking me about it, and it was something that I noticed today that was mentioned, because currently right now, at the time of uploading this, the Splatoon LAN event Don't Park on the Grass is happening, and there was someone on stream that was running 2 peers of damage up on the Octobrush. And that reminded me of this and the fact that I never truly explained what it is I was talking about. So quite a bit of time ago, I was streaming, and someone wanted me to take a look at what damage could be done with the Octobrush if you were using all damage up, so 3 mains, 9 subs. And there wasn't really too much interesting that happened. It was still, like, I was messing around with it, and I still noticed the typical kill time. However, I noticed that there is a new little sweet spot that you can hit with that much damage up, and even with some less than that. So first off, I'm going to show you what that looks like with 3 mains and 9 subs of damage up. As I'm doing this, I'm actually doing this live, so the commentary you're hearing right now is actually live while I'm recording this, which doesn't normally happen. So okay, so here we're going to go in with 3 mains and 9 subs of damage up. And it does about 54, which will still, still 2-shot most enemies. However, there is this thing where if you get the ink, you can kind of see it there. When the ink, or when the brushes flick, you get these little blobs that come out. Now, normally, when it comes to the Octobrush's sweet spot to begin with, you will abuse the fact that you want to hit with those blobs and the brush in one swing, as you can see what's happening there. Now, you notice these damage ranges are pretty high. That one wasn't really too high, but that one where I got 90 in one hit. Well, that's a pretty high damage range for something like this. And it was, the sweet spot for the Octobrush, which was to hit with the brush and the blotch at the same time, which will allow you to do these high amounts of damage. So there I was able to kill in 2 swings. However, when I was messing with this, I noticed there was one thing you can do where you can basically get all of the blotches to hit at one time, and it will do critical damage, to the point where even slightly injured enemies will still die in one swing. So 84 damage, 66. So it's not really showing up here, and it's because I'm not really getting too good with the blotches. And I should have made this video back when I first realized what was happening with this. See, like 78 is a pretty high damage range. How I was able to do it before was I was able to basically create this by flicking the camera as I flicked the Octobrush. As you can see, that's kind of what I'm doing here. I don't have the stream highlight anymore. 78, that's pretty high. Otherwise, I would I would bring in the VOD from the stream to show what I was talking about. So 84. Now, basically the point is that there is a sweet spot that I was able to hit with this amount of damage up that would result in over 100 damage. Now, unfortunately, I'm not seeming to get it here, and it's probably because the game just doesn't want me to be able to show this off. And when I say over 100 damage, I don't mean in 2 flicks. I was able to do it in a single flick. Now, you may be wondering, why does this matter? Because you would require, all damage up. Well, actually, you wouldn't. Because not long after that stream where I found this, I went See, like right there, 90.1 would be a very high damage range for the Octobrush. And even some of these like 70s are still really good. But you don't even necessarily need all damage up to achieve this either. This was just found while I was messing with that. This can actually ideally be, this ideally can occur when you only have 2 pures. So say that this was the build I was using, I could technically still get that one shot. Basically, I guess, like, I don't want to ensure that it is in fact a one shot, because the way that this game works when it comes to fighting is that very few people will be at full health when you encounter them. Most people have either grazed your ink or have been already in another fight with other people, which is why the Octobrush is so good to begin with, is its ability to flick ink out and send it flying and do it so fast with high amounts of damage is what makes this weapon so good, and it can pick off those people that have been pre-damaged. So basically what this is it's like a setup for finishing off those people in only a single swing. Now, like I said, I'm not really getting it here. Like there, 92.5. And that's what's happening is I'm causing the blotches of ink to overlap. So it is essentially counting more than one hit at a time. And you can kind of influence this by shaking the camera as you flick, because where you're at and where you're looking is, you know, it decides where the flick or like the blotches go. And you can kind of influence it by doing what I'm doing here and changing yourself as you move. See, 99 damage in one swing. That would kill off anyone who's touched your ink for even a frame. So that is essentially a one-shot for the Octobrush, which normally, you know, wasn't thought to be a thing. Most people can commonly know that Octobrush is a two-shot weapon. As long as you hit that sweet spot, it is a two-shot. But even if it isn't, it's a pretty safe three-shot. Even the flick damage is a three-shot with enough damage up. So this one shot is basically something given or something hidden behind this high amount of damage needed, but it is still something worth mentioning, is that it can do this, and this is something that the weapon can achieve. This is also something that can be done with the ink brush, however it is not as prevalent, or it won't be, you know, as commonly used or something. It's just because the weapon itself, its ink blotches work differently, so it's not exactly as easy to pull off. And it won't result in a one-shot because of the weapon's natural low damage. It won't be able to create the one-shot. However, it can still reduce the amount of time for the flicks and the amount of damage needed. Because some of these, like, will still kill people that have been pre-damaged. And like I mentioned earlier, very few times will you have people that are actually at full health in this game. So I pretty much just wanted to finally show this off in a video, because I meant to do it long ago, that this is a thing. It is not something you should rely on. Like, obviously you don't want to rely too heavily on this, because this does require at least 2 pures, so 4 mains, you know, a bunch of damage up to do, and it's not consistent. So ideally you'd want to stick with the normal recommended amount of damage up, which is a pure on the Octobrush, or 6 subs or 2 mains. That's the ideal damage amount to have on this weapon. But this is just something that, like I said, I've been meaning to point out, because I kind of talked about it with the people I was streaming with, and then I never did a video on it, which I was going to do, but I just forgot. See, 99 damage would have killed pretty much anyone that you play against. So this is just something that I wanted to point out, because I thought it was interesting. And if you want to build, you know, make your Octobrush build around this, that's fine. This could be really good. I mean, the weapon itself is already still pretty good at killing, but this is just like an interesting piece of information, and how, like, showing how much damage up affects the weapon and the blotches of ink, and how that changes how much damage you can do significantly just by the slight influence of moving your camera, moving your character as you flick. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This hasn't really been like too significant, as I've just been, you know, making up as I go, really. But I hope this was interesting for some of you. I really wish I could show the video from my stream, because I did get a couple over 100 damage hits, but that would require a lot of ink blotches to hit at the same time, and it produces quite a few of them. As you can see, it produces 5, so it would require a good number of them to hit. As you can see, there are only 3 missed. So like I said, I was able to do it, but it doesn't seem that the game is going to let me reproduce that. But I'm still getting pretty high damage rolls, which will still kill a significant amount of people, just because pre-damage exists, and almost no one is going to be at full health in this game, especially in high-level play, where people just want to move fast and get around the map. They're bound to graze enemy ink, and enemy ink does damage you pretty significantly in a low amount of time. So, yep, I want to thank everyone for watching, and if I find anything else that's interesting, I will make a video on it. So, that'll be it.